Most men over the age of 50 have heard the exact same advice on repeat for their entire adult lives. Drink 8 glasses of water every single day, keep your body properly hydrated, protect your long term health, and for decades they have believed it without question. They went out and purchased the oversized reusable bottles. They programmed their phones with hourly reminders. They followed the instructions precisely. They did absolutely everything they were told to do. That's it. That's all it does. It does nothing and zero for the one thing that actually controls your circulation, your energy, your stamina, and yes, what happens in the bedroom. And that one thing is a molecule called nitric oxide. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what to add to your water. Cheap, simple, backed by real research that can start waking that system back up. Stick around because step 4 is the one almost nobody talks about, and it might matter more than the other three combined. Let's talk about what's actually happening in your body after 50 because most guys have no idea. Here's the deal. Your blood vessels are lined with a paper thin layer of cells called the endothelium. Think of it like the inside skin of a garden hose. When that lining is healthy, it constantly produces nitric oxide, a gas that tells your blood vessels to relax and widen. Wider vessels means better blood flow. Better blood flow means more oxygen to your muscles, your brain, your heart, and every other organ that needs a steady supply to function well. But here's the problem. Starting around your 40s and accelerating hard through your 50s and 60s, your body's natural nitric oxide production starts dropping. Some research suggests it can fall by as much as 10 to 12% per decade after you hit your prime. By the time you're in your 60s, you could be producing half the or less than of the nitric oxide you did in your 20s. And it's not just a number on a page. You feel this. You feel it when you used to walk up a flight of stairs without thinking twice, and now you're a little winded. You feel it in cold hands and feet, even in a warm room. That's blood not making it to your extremities like it used to. You feel it in your workouts when your muscles used to pump up, and now they just feel flat. And for a lot of men, you feel it in a much more personal way, because nitric oxide is the exact same mechanism responsible for healthy blood flow during arousal. Same molecule, same pipes. Now here's where it gets frustrating. Doctors will tell you drink more water, get some exercise, eat healthy, and look, that advice isn't wrong, but it's incomplete. Plain water has no nitrates, no antioxidants, none of the raw materials your body actually needs to manufacture nitric oxide. You can drink 8 glasses a day for the rest of your life, and your endothelium still won't have the fuel it needs to do its job. It's like telling someone to keep their car running but never putting gas in the tank. The engine is fine. It's just starving. So the guys who figure this out, the ones who start feeding their body what it actually needs, they're the ones who notice their energy come back, their hands and feet warm up, their workouts hit different. And honestly, a lot of them report their performance in the bedroom improves too. That's not a coincidence. That's blood flow working the way it's supposed to. So let's fix the fuel problem. I've got 5 things you can start doing this week, and starting with the single easiest one that takes about 10 seconds and costs you nothing. This is the big one, and it's the reason for the title of this video. If you do nothing else from this list, do this. Beets are loaded with something called dietary nitrates. When you eat or drink them, your body converts those nitrates into nitrite and then into nitric oxide through a pathway that doesn't even involve the enzyme your aging endothelium struggles to use as efficiently anymore. That's huge because it means you're getting a second route to nitric oxide production, one that doesn't rely on the system that's already declining with age. Beetroot juice has actually been studied in athletes and older adults for exactly this reason. Researchers have measured improved blood flow, lower blood pressure, and better exercise tolerance in people who supplement with it regularly. This isn't some obscure influencer trend. This is stuff that's been tested in sports science and cardiovascular labs for over a decade. Here's how simple it is. You can buy beetroot powder, unsweetened, no additives, and mix about a teaspoon into a glass of water in the morning. Or if you prefer, straight beetroot juice, about 2 to 4 ounces a day. That's it. You're not overhauling your diet, you're adding one ingredient to a glass of water you were already going to drink anyway. A quick tip, if you notice your urine or stool looks a little pink or red after this, don't panic. That's called bituria. It's completely harmless and it just means the pigment is passing through your system. Totally normal. Now, some guys ask me, well, why not just eat whole beets? You can, and that's great too. But juice or powder gives you a concentrated, consistent dose without needing to roast a vegetable every single day. Consistency is what matters here. Nitric oxide production isn't a one-time fix. It's a daily habit like brushing your teeth. You want a steady supply of raw material every day, not a big dose once a month. This next one is a small tweak that makes a real difference, and almost nobody does it. Here's the science in plain English. Nitrates from beets need to be converted step by step into nitric oxide. Along the way, there's a point where that reaction can actually reverse itself if your mouth or stomach environment isn't right, and certain compounds can interfere with the conversion. Vitamin C, on the other hand, helps protect that nitrite to nitric oxide conversion and even helps recycle nitric oxide once it's made so it sticks around longer and does more work in your bloodstream. Practically, this means pairing your beet water with a vitamin C source. You don't need a mega dose or an expensive supplement. A squeeze of fresh lemon or orange juice into the same glass of water does the job. Some guys just take a basic 500 milligram vitamin C tablet alongside their beet powder in the morning. Either way works. Here's a mistake I see constantly. Guys use antibacterial mouthwash right after drinking their beet water, thinking they're being hygienic. Don't do that. There are bacteria on your tongue that are part of the conversion process. They help turn dietary nitrate into nitrite in the first place. Wiping those out with antibacterial mouthwash can actually blunt the whole effect. So if you're serious about this, save the mouthwash for a different time of day, not right after your nitrate drink. Timing matters too. A lot of people get the best results taking this about 2 to 3 hours before they need peak blood flow, whether that's a workout, a long walk, or just wanting to feel sharp for an afternoon meeting. Nitric oxide from dietary nitrates tends to peak in your system a few hours after you consume it. So plan around that instead of expecting an instant switch to flip. Alright, step 3 isn't something you drink, it's something you do, and I promise I'm not about to tell you to run a marathon. Physical activity is one of the most powerful natural triggers for nitric oxide production there is. When your muscles demand more blood flow during movement, your endothelium responds by producing more nitric oxide to widen those vessels and meet the demand. It's literally training your blood vessel lining to do its job better, kind of like how lifting weights trains a muscle. The research on this is honestly pretty encouraging for guys over 50. You don't need to be doing marathons or triathlons. Studies on moderate aerobic activity, brisk walking, cycling, swimming, consistently show improved endothelial function in older adults, sometimes in as little as a few weeks of consistent effort. Even short bouts matter. A 10 to 15-minute brisk walk, done most days, is enough to start signaling your blood vessels to adapt. Here's a combo move that works really well. Take your beet water about 2 hours before a walk. You're feeding the pathway with raw material and then you're activating it with movement. That 1-2 punch tends to outperform either one on its own. If you want to level it up, some research points to short bursts of higher intensity. Think alternating faster and slower walking paces as being even more effective at boosting nitric oxide production than a flat, steady pace. But don't let that be a barrier. If all you can commit to right now is a plain, steady walk around the block, that still counts and it's still working in your favor. The worst workout is the one you didn't do because you were holding out for the perfect one. This is the one I mentioned at the top of the video, the one almost nobody talks about, and it surprises people every time I bring it up. We already touched on antibacterial mouthwash killing the oral bacteria that help convert nitrate to nitrite. But there's a second bigger issue a lot of men over 50 run into without realizing it: stomach acid suppressors. If you're on a proton pump inhibitor or a regular antacid for heartburn or acid reflux, and a lot of guys in this age group are, you should know that stomach acid actually plays a role in helping convert nitrite the rest of the way into nitric oxide. When you suppress that acid long term, you can be blunting part of this pathway without ever knowing it. Now, I want to be really clear here. I am not telling you to stop taking a prescribed medication. If your doctor has you on something for a real medical reason, that conversation needs to happen with them, not with a YouTube video. What I am telling you is this: it's worth having an honest conversation with your doctor about your acid reducer use, especially if it's something you've been on for years just out of habit rather than an active diagnosed need. Sometimes there are alternatives, sometimes there aren't, and that's fine too. You just want to know where you stand. The same goes for antibacterial mouthwash. If you use it religiously twice a day out of habit, consider dialing it back to once a day or using it at a different time than when you're trying to get the benefit from nitrate-rich foods or drinks. Small adjustment, potentially real payoff. The bigger point here is this: nitric oxide production is a chain. Diet feeds it, oral bacteria convert part of it, stomach acid helps convert more of it, movement activates it, and antioxidants protect it. If you're doing steps 1 through 3 perfectly but breaking a link further down the chain without knowing it, you're leaving results on the table. This step is about closing that gap. Last one, and it ties everything together. Magnesium plays a supporting role in vascular health. It helps blood vessels relax properly, which works hand in hand with everything nitric oxide is doing. A lot of men over 50 are quietly low in magnesium and don't know it, partly because modern soil and food processing has reduced magnesium content in a lot of common foods, and partly because certain medications increase how much magnesium your body loses. You don't need anything exotic here. Leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and legumes are solid dietary sources. If you and your doctor decide a supplement makes sense for you, magnesium glycinate is generally well tolerated in the evening, and some men find it helps with sleep quality too. Which brings me to the second half of this step. Sleep is when a lot of your vascular repair work actually happens. Poor sleep is linked in research to worse endothelial function and higher inflammation markers, both of which work directly against everything we just spent the last 15 minutes building. You can nail the beet water, the vitamin C, the walks, all of it, but if you're only getting 4 or 5 broken hours of sleep a night, you're fighting yourself. You don't need a complicated sleep routine. Consistent bedtime, a dark and cool room, and cutting off screens 30 to 60 minutes before bed will get most guys 80% of the way there. This isn't the flashy step, it's not going to trend on social media, but it's the step that makes every other step actually work the way it's supposed to. Let's run through it one more time fast. 1. Add beetroot powder or juice to your water. That's your raw material for nitric oxide. 2. Pair it with a little vitamin C and don't rinse away the bacteria that are helping you with antibacterial mouthwash right after. 3. Move your body, even just a brisk 10-minute walk most days, to actually train your blood vessels to respond. 4. Take an honest look at your antacid and mouthwash habits and have a real conversation with your doctor if something there might be quietly working against you. 5. Don't skip magnesium-rich foods and treat your sleep like it's part of the plan, because it is. Now, none of this requires a subscription, a fad diet, or throwing out everything you're currently doing. It's 5 small layered adjustments that work together, and layered is the key word. Do one, and you'll probably notice something. Do all 5 consistently, and that's when guys tend to tell me the difference feels obvious. More energy, warmer hands and feet, better stamina, and better performance where it counts too. Look, I'm not a doctor, and this isn't medical advice. Talk to your physician before making any changes, especially if you're on medication or managing a health condition. But the research behind dietary nitrates, vitamin C, exercise, and vascular health is real, and it's not complicated. You don't need to overhaul your life. You need to add a little, remove a little, and stay consistent. If this video actually gave you something useful, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I put out content like this every week for guys who want to stay sharp, strong, and capable well past 50 without falling for gimmicks or wasting money on stuff that doesn't work. Drop a comment and let me know. Which of these 5 are you already doing, and which one are you going to add this week? I read every comment, and honestly, some of the best tips in this series have come from guys in the comments sharing what's worked for them. And if you know a buddy who's been feeling a little more tired, a little more sluggish than he used to, send him this video. This is exactly the kind of thing men don't talk about enough with each other, and it should be a normal conversation, not a taboo one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.